It is time once again for some front office insights where we break down MLB teams from top to bottom, from the prospects to the GMs, everybody who makes the decisions. And we go to the Cleveland Guardians today. 92-win team last year. They won the AL Central. And I got to tell you, this is an absolutely fantastic team. They've got a lot of promise. They've got a lot of youth. They've got some good veteran leadership there as well. So there's lots to talk about. And I think today is actually the perfect day to talk about it as well, because Jim, earlier today, you actually had a full conversation, a full interview with none other than Chris Antonetti, the Guardians president of baseball operations. You guys can hear that full interview on the GM's Corner using the SXM app. But, Jim, are you ready to talk some Cleveland Guardians?
I am ready to talk some Guardians. Let's go.
Did Antonetti give you all the dirt that we need here for fantasy?
He gave us all the inside information we need to have.
I love it. Absolutely love it. Let's start off, as we usually do, with the offseason. It's a 92-win team last year. Jim, did they do anything to get better?
They did, and the biggest move they made was signing Josh Bell to a 2-year, $33 million deal. And I think Josh Bell is going to be a really good fit with Cleveland. I think it's a good market for him. He's a good team player, really adds to culture. We all seen his power. Now, he didn't play well after he got traded from Washington to San Diego, but he had played well the year and a half before that. And really good family man, Josh Bell is, and he's going to bring power. He'll share first base and DH with Bo Naylor. So he brings the power that he needs. Now, in that lineup that he's going to be in, you know, when you're sitting there with Jose Ramirez hitting in front of you and Steven Kwan, one of the higher on-base percentage guys, and Andres Jimenez, another high on-base percentage guy, Josh Bell's going to be able to get some 3-run homers. And he's going to get some really good pitches to hit because of the traffic in front of him. So Bell is really set up to be a real sleeper in fantasy that people aren't talking about. Their other big move in free agency was signing Mike Zunino to a 1-year, $6 million deal to catch. Coming back from injury, I think the injury is a risk here. Look, we know he can hit homers. He's not going to hit for high average in fantasy, but he does hit home runs. And we saw him when he was healthy in Tampa do that and lead Tampa to a lot of postseason bursts. So those were the free agent moves. You know, trade-wise, you know, they didn't do much. They did trade outfield prospect Will Benson to the Reds for outfield prospect Justin Boyd. They traded Owen Miller to Milwaukee and also Nolan Jones to the Rockies for Juan Brito. None of those are significant in terms of fantasy.
All right, well, let's look around the diamond here, and we'll see who is worthy for fantasy. Behind the plate, we got Mike Zunino as the primary catcher. Like you said, Josh Bell splitting time with, was it Josh Naylor? Excuse me, splitting time at DH and first base for Cleveland. Andres Jimenez, who really surprised a ton of people last year, myself included. Shout out to the Kangas man who told me not to sleep on Jimenez. I did, and he woke me up to tell me how great he was. Jose Ramirez at the hot corner. Ahmed Rosario at short. In the outfield, Jim, Steve Kwan, Miles Straw, Oscar Gonzalez. Not really a big, beefy outfield for this Guardians team. Who do you like for fantasy?
Yeah, so, look, first of all, we all should love Jose Ramirez. If you want to take him first overall in the draft, yeah, do it. Anywhere in the first round works for Ramirez. He is one of the more consistent performers in fantasy. Gives you homers, gives you RBIs, gives you average, gives you on base, steals bases, does everything. Five category guy. So you definitely want him. I love Andres Jimenez. I can argue he's the second best second baseman in fantasy behind Jose Altuve. No reason why he can't hit 25 homers and steal 25, maybe 30 bags. And he hits 300 and he gets on base. I love Jimenez. When you talked about not having a lot of power, when I talked to Chris Antonetti today, they have a lot of hopes on Oscar Gonzalez. They really think that he is going to be a guy for them. And quite frankly, they're also high on Josh Naylor, who is going to play some first with Bell, some right field, and some DH. They're going to share those kind of three spots between Gonzalez, Bell, and Naylor. DH, first base, right field. It's going to be shared, right? They're all going to play in the field. They're all going to DH. But they, power-wise, they really do believe that Josh Naylor and Oscar Gonzalez are going to give them power around Bell, and they think they're going to hit more home runs than a lot of people do. So for me, it's definitely Ramirez at third. It's definitely Jimenez at second. I love Josh Bell as kind of a sleeper. First base thins out quick. So when it thins out and all of a sudden you've got the big boys that are gone, the Goldschmidts, the Olsons, the Freemans, the Alonsos, the Abreu's, once all those guys are gone and you're looking for quality, I think Bell can hit 25 to 30 for these guys because of the lineup he's in and the market size that he's in.
All right. Listen, I can dig that. I can definitely dig that. Was Naylor? Was it Naylor who did the rock the baby thing against the Yankees?
Him. That's Josh Naylor, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. So he won't be on any of my teams now for fantasy.
Okay. All right.
People don't forget. People don't forget. Let me ask you about some of the depth that they have there. One player in particular, I was told not to sleep by the same guy who told me last year not to sleep on Andres Jimenez. He told me this year not to sleep on Will Brennan.
Yeah. Said it at the same time, right?
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me about Will Brennan.
Well, I'd rather tell you what Chris Antonetti said, president baseball operations for Cleveland, because we talked to him today. I have not seen the Guardians this spring, okay? So I'd rather talk to the guy that sees them every day. I asked him the question. I said, who is the one guy we haven't talked about we have to talk about? Who's the one guy we have to watch? And he did not hesitate. He said it's Will Brennan. He said, Jim, this is a left-hand hitter, 25 years old. Prime year's just starting. He was our eighth-round pick in 2019. He said, Jim, this guy can really hit. And I'm talking hit. Your kind of hitter. This is a guy last year, AA and AAA, hit .314, was on base 37% of the time, 40 doubles, 13 homers, 107 RBIs, and 20 stolen bases. How many times did he get caught stealing, Howard? 3. 20 steals.
That's impressive.
Caught 3. Yeah. So, everybody, pay attention to Will Brennan. Do not sleep on him.
I love it. I got the FSGA Champions League draft coming up next week on Monday. 1 week from today, I'll add Will Brennan to my list. Let's go to the pitcher's mound, Jim. Shane Bieber, Tristan McKenzie. I mean, that's a fantastic 1-2 punch, no doubt about it. I know you're a big bullish on Tristan McKenzie, as am I. Then, though, you got Cal Quantrill, Aaron Savali, Zach Plesac. So, back into this rotation, not so savvy.
They're 25 to 28 years old, all of them. They won the division last year. They have an unbelievable bullpen. They only have to go 5 innings to get a win, and they got a bullpen that can shut you down like any bullpen in baseball. So, I like it. Now, I said this before, and I was talking to Chris, and I said, give me the ceiling. He goes, I don't want to give the ceiling. You do the ceiling. I said, okay, Cy Young. He said, okay, I like your ceiling. I made the point that I think McKenzie's going to go past Bieber this year. I think he's going to be the 1 starter, and Bieber's going to be the 2. Well, everyone go, oh, what? Yo, you can't do that. It's Bieber. What? Okay, but just remember when the Giants won in 2010, it was Lincecum was the ace. When they won in 2012, it was Matt Cain. When they won in 2014, it was Madison Bumgarner. And remember with the Dodgers most recently, Kershaw was the ace, and then Buehler became the ace, and now Urias is the ace. That's how it works, guys. Don't ignore it. McKenzie is primed, like Logan Gilbert of Seattle. Don't sleep on those 2 guys. I'm telling you, you want to get these guys before they do it. I'm telling you, you want to reach before they become the superstar they're going to become. So, Would I have interest in Quantrill, Savali, or Plesac? Probably not, Howard. If I had to pick one of the 3, it'd be Quantrill.
Okay, makes sense. Definitely makes sense. You've cited Bo Naylor. We talked Will Brennan. Talk to me about rookies. Talk to me about the farm system here for Cleveland.
Yeah, so, look, first of all, in the bullpen, I'm all in on Clase.
Oh, yeah, I forgot the bullpen.
I just want to go there for a minute.
Come on. It's Clase.
And if you need setup guys, Karinchak, Stefan, Sandlin, De Los Santos, Morgan, I love them all.
I'm sorry, Emmanuel. I didn't mean to overlook.
That's all right. I had to mention him just because he and Diaz are the 2 best closers. And if you want to reach for a closer, you want to reach for them.
Third
round.
And
they're going in the 3rd round. So if you want them, take them in the 3rd round. Don't take them in the 2nd round. But I'm okay in the 3rd round. All right. Rookies spotlight Bo Naylor. If Zunino isn't healthy, there's a pathway. Cam Gallagher's there, kind of confusing you, but, Naylor's a guy, can hit a little bit if he gets a chance. But in the farm system, their farm system is so good. Put your seatbelt on, guys. Daniel Espino and Gavin Williams, they're studs. Stud pitchers. Now they're hoping their starting 5 stays healthy, But if they don't, Espino and Williams are better than Quantrill. They're better than the Savali, and they're better than Plesac, potentially. So pay attention to Espino and Williams. Now, George Valera, good offensive player. He's one to watch. He's got power. You all want him to have power. You worry about the Guardians' power. There's a guy with power. I just don't see the runway this year to play ahead of Quan in left field, and I don't see the runway ahead of Oscar Gonzalez right now. But Valera's a guy to put your tabs on him. Follow him. Give him a follow on Instagram or Twitter. Heck, look at TikTok if you want. I don't care.
I'm very selective about who I follow on TikTok. It's going to be close. All right. So deep farm system. Lots of guys who could potentially be on their way. I mean, Chris Antonetti, is he that guy, Jim, who, Cleveland in a great spot, trade deadline. He's like, I got to shore up this outfield. It needs some work. He'll trade away, won't he?
I think that they'll make a move if needed. It'll be one move, not a lot, and they'll be very careful to trade their best prospects. They have enough depth to make depth trades, but remember this. They wanted Sean Murphy before he got traded to Atlanta, and they weren't willing to give up their top guys to get him, and they didn't get him. And I think that is going to be information you need to know. So they will make a trade at the deadline if they need a piece. But it's kind of like the free agent of signing of Josh Bell or the free agent signing of Zunino, right? Like they're not going to get Sean Murphy, they're going to get Zunino. They're not going to get Freddie Freeman, they're going to get Josh Bell. And keep that in mind.
Okay, good to know. They like to handle it economically. Makes sense. All right, well, let's wrap up our coverage here of the Cleveland Guardians with one sleeper, one bust. Jim, who you got?
Okay, so with my sleeper, I'm going Oscar Gonzalez. I'm going to defer to Chris Antonetti, the president of baseball operations, and trust him. I've seen glimpses of him. I loved him. I've seen glimpses of him, and I've questioned him. I saw the walk-off homer in the postseason. I'll never forget it. It was a big home run. I don't get to watch him on a nightly basis, so I haven't seen him enough, and I haven't seen him this spring because I have stayed in Florida. I have not gone to Arizona. So I've got to trust my executive friends. Chris Antonetti is one of the best evaluators in the sport. If he tells me Oscar Gonzalez is a real sleeper, then I'm going to go ahead and give you that. So that's my sleeper. And in terms of the bust, look, there's a lot of people who are going to draft Miles Straw because of the speed, the bigger bases. The pitchers can't disengage the third time. But I don't know if Straw's ever going to be able to steal first base. And I don't know if he's ever going to hit enough. And I don't know if he's going to ever have enough juice to let the stolen bases. And guys like him and John Birdie, they hurt you in the other four categories. And that hurts your team when you're playing elite players. So I think Straw is going to be a fantasy bust. I think Reality's a good player. I like him in reality at bat ninth. I don't like him in fantasy. I think a bust in fantasy.
All right. Well, there you go, folks. The Cleveland Guardians in a nutshell right there for fantasy purposes. As always, you can check out all of our front office insights on the SXM app. Just search Fantasy Alarm. You can also go to fantasyalarm.com and check it out in our free fantasy baseball draft guide as well. It's right there on the page. You can't miss it. Front office insights, always good.